Hello to all of you. I know life is all a bit strange at the moment and you're probably not at school. But if you need to take a little break from your schoolwork, I thought my little friend Albert and I would give you a break. So I'm going to read you the story of Albert and the slingshot. This is how it goes. Albert and all the little field mice were gathered at the edge of the field. The sun was high in the sky, and each mouse was nestling under a leafy branch, like their own personal sunshade. "We love it here," one of them said. "We feel so much safer than in the barn." Said Albert. "Did I ever tell you the story of the slingshot?" Every little pair of tufty ears flapped this way and that as they shook their heads. "When he was young, my great Uncle Barney loved being out in the fields too," said Albert. "He used to scamper around the sheep. If a lion or wolf came too close, he'd tuck himself inside the bag of a shepherd boy called David. David would always fight them off. One day, David's dad gave him a job to do. "Take this basket of food and drink to your brothers at the battlefront," he said. David didn't really want to go, as he knew his brothers would tease him. But to please his dad, off he went. "That was when Barney made his big mistake," said Albert gravely. "Whatever did he do?" squeaked Lucy, a small wide-eyed mouse. "He climbed into the basket," said Albert. As David took each step, poor Barney was joggled from side to side. When he stopped walking, Barney peeked over the basket to see what was happening outside. "Was there a terrible battle going on?" roared Smokey, a grey mouse with a very loud voice. "No," said Albert. "The whole army were just standing about. Well, in fact, they weren't so much standing about as hiding and crouching down low." David asked them what was going on. At last, one of them told him. "He's the problem," he said, and he jabbed a thumb up over the grassy bank where they were hiding. Barney was wondering who the man meant, when a mighty roar split the air. It rattled the branches of the trees and made the clay bottles in the basket clink together so hard they almost squashed him. Barney wriggled out and into the safety of David's bag. "Come on, you cowards!" the giant Goliath roared. "What's the matter with you? Send your champion out to fight me, and we'll soon see who's boss around here." David looked around to see who would answer. Why are they frightened of a silly old giant, he thought, when they've got God on their side? David waited and waited, but nobody said a thing. David started asking anyone who could see, "Why don't you fight him?" The king himself got to hear of it and sent for David. "Please, your majesty," David said in a squeaky voice, "please let me go and fight him, sire." "You?" said the king, the silver armour on his belly jangling up and down as he laughed at the very idea. "Yes, sire," said David. "God kept me safe from lions and wolves, so why can't he keep me safe from this giant?" The king could see that David's mind was made up, so he told him, "Go, and I pray that God will keep you safe." The king placed his armour on David, and it came all the way down to his toes. He put his heavy helmet on his head, and David could hardly lift it. When he strapped on his sword and tried to take a step, he tripped over with a splat. "I'm sorry, your majesty," David said, "but I just can't wear all this." Leaving the armour behind, David picked his way down the grassy bank to a sparkly stream that flowed nearby. Bending down, he picked up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stones, dried them off on his tunic, and put them in the bag. With each one, Barney had to dodge this way and that as they came rattling down. Then David walked out to face the giant. "Ho, ho, ho!" roared the giant, the ground shaking with every ho. What kind of joke is this, boy? Take one step closer and I'll break you up and feed you to the birds. David wasn't frightened. I'm not scared of you, he shouted across the battlefield. God is with me and you're the one who'll end up broken. The ground began to shake with a boom, boom, boom as the giant strode towards him. At that moment, David's hand shot down into the bag. His fingers pushed past Barney's furry back, just missing him as they closed around a stone. He loaded it into his sling and let go. Phew, said Barney, deep down in the bag. Whoosh went the air as the stone rushed through it. Thunk went the stone as it hit the big giant Goliath right on his big ugly head. Crash went everything as the giant fell down on the battlefield. The next thing Barney knew, the bag was swaying from side to side as the people lifted David onto their shoulders. They carried him round with a mighty cheer. What happened to Barney? Asked Smoky, very quietly now. For the rest of that day, said Albert, he curled up in a ball at the bottom of the bag until David carried him home. Albert curled up to sleep too. After all, he said to himself, God can deal with giants, so I've got nothing to fear. And that's the story of Albert and the slingshot.